Okay, I'm shooting this little video really quick. This is a super simple introduction to this amazing tool called Handbrake. And it's available, as you can see here, it's available on Mac, which I'm using. It's available on Windows. If any of you guys are crazy Linux people, you can use that. But what it is, it's an incredible, they call it a transcoder. So you can take video, drop video into it, and do all kinds of things with your video. In particular, you can compress your video very, 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 very well with it. So, sorry, I just realized I should be looking in the camera because I got my face up there. So, I'm right now doing the screen recording with, as always, my favorite, screen tool of any kind, TechSmith's Snagit, which there's should be links everywhere for it on our resources page, and you'll hear me talk about it a billion times because Snagit is by far the simplest and easiest and most robust and powerful tool there is for any kind of screen capture, screen grabs, grabbing graphics, grabbing videos or whatever. I'll show you in a second, or in another video. I'll show how I created a GIF or a GIF, however you want to say it. I call them GIFs from the Tony Awards challenge site where you go in and compete for prizes and whatnot. And they've got this cool little. In fact, I'll show you. Again, they've got this cool little GIF running in the background here of this video. So I just created one off of this. I just did a little video capture of this and then transcribed it. And then actually I'll show you exactly what I did because this is what we're going to do right now with this one. So what I did was I used Snagit, which I'm using right now, to just do a screen recording of this. And there's a number of different ways you can do it. You can do it with QuickTime for free on Mac. It's been a minute since I've done it on a PC to recall what you can use for that, but there are free screen recorders for everything. Snagit is paid, but I love it. It's so well worth the money. So I just did a screen grab from here, basically, to this corner here, and just recorded the video for 45 seconds or whatnot, and then that video ended up here on my desktop. Tony's contest.mov, which you see was 64 megs, right? And then I opened up Handbrake, which is, again, a video compression, video transcoder, so I can change it from one format to another. I can change the different sizes that I want. I can change, so I'm not going to do the geeky Ken version of Handbrake, because there is a geeky Ken version of Handbrake where I'll break down a lot more specifics about how to transcode and compress video using Handbrake. There's a more advanced version. This is just a simple version so you can see. You get a video, usually whenever you're recording it, whether it's something you record on your phone or something you do a screen recording on, either way, if I add it into my computer, it's going to be a big size file. And this is for all of your stuff. So it's really kind of a generally great workflow to just every time you film anything on your iPad or on your iPhone or your smartphone, your Samsung or whatever, to throw it into a computer and run it through Handbrake. And you'll keep, most of the time, you'll keep really, really great quality, but the file size that you get to work with will be much, much, much smaller. So I'll show you. So right now, the screen grab that I did was 64 megs here, right? So I'm just going to drop it onto the screen here, and it pulls in the basic information, right? So it's got my summary, the dimensions that I recorded it at, which was 1318 by 742 for whatever reason, right? But it's basically a 16:9 ratio, same as movie screens and TVs and whatnot, right? So I can go through and be as detailed as I want in terms of the transcoding of it and the adjustments. I can change it from an MP4 to an MKV to a web. There are also all these presets, tons of presets here. And I can change them. Like I can take this 1318 by 742 and make it a 4K video if I want. I can upscale it. I can drop it to a lower size, a smaller sized video, which is what I'm going to do actually in this case. I'm going to turn this into 720 because I'm just using it for creating a GIF for our newsletter and for our website. So all I need is the smaller version of it, right? So I'm just changing it to 720 by, or 1280 by 720. I'm always clicking Web Optimize. That little Web Optimize button here, that's like the one thing you want to remember to do, because then it goes through Optimize MP3 for progressive download. After encoding, data is reorganized and rewritten to allow immediate playback over a network without needing to download the entire file, right? So just one of the cool things that it does. And then for me personally, this is just my preference because it's such a better encoder. So typically when you're making an MP4, it will use, you don't need to know what this means, just know the term. H.264, or if you're in England or Canada, H.264. And I prefer to use the H.265. All right, that's just the difference for me. So summary, web optimized, H.265. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to overwrite the one that was there. And you'll see down here on the bottom, the progression. So, it's already at 9%, 10%. And that's progressing. It'll take about a minute or so to do so. So this allows me to take any video of any size, any quality. So if you're shooting, like what I always do, I shoot 4K all the time. I shoot 4K on my iPhone. I can actually shoot 8K on my Samsung. That looks really cool. 8K and 24 frames per second, which is cinematic quality, is pretty amazing. But so I'll shoot 4K, sometimes 2K, if all it is like in studio, like stuff that you see me do just like where I'm teaching something or whatever. Because the final result is I want a 1080p file, right, which is full screen size. But if I shoot at a higher resolution of 2K, 4K, 8K, one of the things it allows me to do when I'm editing it is I can have my 1080 version, and then I can zoom in on a 2K file. If I want to do jump cuts, a little zoom, make it look like I shot from 2 or 3 different cameras, and do a little jump cut here, a little zoom in for just a different edit right there, and it won't lose any quality because it's a higher quality file than the size of the video I'm creating, if that makes sense. I'm trying to end up in a 1080, but if I've got 2K, 4K, 8K video in there, then I can zoom in and still keep the high quality picture of it when I'm doing my cuts. So that's done. So let's take a look and see. So I'm going to pop over here to my movies file. So it just took that 64 meg file, and let's take a look at the two so we can see. So we'll open this one. Right here. And then I'm going to go back to the one on the desktop. I'm going to open this one right here in QuickTime. Put that one right here. And then I'm just going to play them both, and we'll see the difference in the quality, if there is one. Exactly the same. Cheetah looks great. Lin-Manuel looks great. Sarah Silverman looks great. Billy Porter looks great, right? So exactly the same. Maybe I can see a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of a difference, but not enough that I have to worry about it, right? That's plenty for what I'm doing to make a GIF out of it, right? So in terms of just the quality of the image. So now when I go to make a GIF file from the newly Handbrake version, the smaller version of the video, when I turn it into a GIF, I can now ultimately end up with a smaller GIF file. So the actual image file that's GIF will be smaller because the video I started with was smaller. So hopefully that makes sense. It's just a really good example of simple explanation for how Handbrake works. It can compress a file, maintain the vast majority of its quality, and then allow you, like if I'd kept this at 1080, and I probably should have done that just to see, I kept it at the original dimensions, and then seen what it would have done. Right? It would have been pretty much match for match, right? Frame for frame. But so it's a great tool. It's super easy to use. Yes, it's tons of complicated. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. All you need to know is drop it in there, pick whatever size you want, right? Different sizes, quality or speed. Web version, there's actually so there's versions here for, you want to play it on Apple, you want to play it on Roku, Xbox, settings. There is one for, so social media, email, different creator levels. they used to have like YouTube and Vimeo settings. So lots of presets that do everything for you. The only thing I ever do is depending on what file format I want, usually mostly MP4, always. I always click Web Optimize, and personally, I always change it to H.265, and then personally, depending on what the quality of the content is I'm putting in there, I may switch to 10 or 12-bit, but that's something you guys don't need to know that, right? So very simple, very easy. Amazing tool, totally free. They update it regularly. It's an unbelievable tool to have in your tool bag, and it's free. So that's this great little tutorial on it. Hopefully that makes sense. I will do a much more in-depth, advanced Geeky Ken Strikes Again version of it down the road. But for now, there you have it.